Hey everyone, I'm back with another riding voiceover with my horse Jett.
Boy.
And in this session, I decided to do something different. I put spurs on, and I have never worn spurs with Jett before, but it was something that I wanted to try, and I want to talk about my reasoning behind that. I have had issues with him
There, yeah, good.
for quite a while with getting him
Good
to move
boy.
forward. And part of what has happened is I have started nagging, and I have noticed that the rest of my body has kind of been all over the place because I am trying so hard to get him to move forward and not getting a response. And we have to get a response, right? And so I wanted to ride with spurs because I felt like it would help me ride quieter and help me
There you go. Good
interrupt him
boy.
less. And throughout this video, you'll probably hear me talking to him quite a bit. When I recorded this, I guess I still have my headphones on and the video uh, connected to my headphones. So you're probably going to hear me talking to him the whole time. But I thought I would leave that in. That way you guys could hear it. Um, but anyways, so that's the reason I added spurs. Not necessarily as a punishment, but as a way to get a response and be able to leave him alone and give him a release
Good
more
job.
often. So I spent quite a while walking just so he could feel that and not get nervous with it. I wasn't sure how he would react, but he seemed fine. The spurs I had on are these teeny tiny little rounded nubs, so they're really not anything crazy. And I really do recommend, if you're going to start wearing spurs, that you do start with something really small. There's no reason to move up to something harsh. That's not what they're meant for. Um, they're really just meant to help you use your aids better
There you
and
go. Good.
be able to leave your horse alone. So, anyways, like I said, I walked in for quite a while. When this video starts with what you're seeing, I had already walked in probably 5 minutes. But like I said, I was really just wanting him to feel those spurs. And you'll see every now and then, I'm kind of just practicing having him move off my leg on this longer rein, just so he can get a feel of them even more, and we can kind of both communicate on, what it means when I use my spur in that way. And he's being really good. Like I said in my last video, especially off the right leg, he just doesn't really understand the cues. So seeing this video back and seeing him move off the right leg
Good.
that well so quickly, I'm really happy with that already. And you can see here he's being really relaxed, and I'm really happy with how he's moving forward still. You can see with his ears, they're floppy, but he puts them back every now and then to kind of listen to me and listen to what I'm asking him to do. And his body stays nice and
Good
long. His
boy.
overreach is really nice. And I talked about this in the last video quite a bit, that my big goal with him is always long body and relaxation. So here I have my reins pretty long with a teeny tiny bit of contact, and I'm just letting him move on, warm up his back a little bit more, keep that long frame that I like on him. And you can see his ears kind of going back, and he's doing that every time I use that spur a little bit. So when he starts slowing down, I just use the spur a little, and he's kind of like, whoa, what is that? Because he's never felt a spur before. But he's being so good, he's listening so well, And I can tell I'm riding so much quieter because I'm not throwing my body around trying to get him to move forward, which is really nice. He's blowing out quite a bit too, which I really like. I like seeing that relaxation and hearing him do that. And I know not everyone agrees with this, but I always like my horses to be able to warm up on a nice long rein. I don't always do that every single time, but I like to know that I can and that I'm on a horse that I trust enough to be on that loose rein and be able to have that long frame. I think it's really important. And you can see he's starting to come into the contact a little bit. My goal with this ride was to just be quiet, 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 and let him get comfortable with that spur. So
There you
I'm
go.
trying to just keep my hands out of his way, keep my body out of his way, let him kind of figure it out.
Good.
And I'm really trying to get big releases every time I get a response for what I'm asking for. So every time I ask him to move on and he listens, I release. And every time I give him a little half halt and he
Good
listens, I also
boy.
release to that.
Good.
And I'm trying to be really patient here. So again, just like in the last video, he's a little out in front of the vertical, but again, I want him to be able to come
Good.
to me. I don't want to force him into a frame. And what I have found is when you force a horse into a frame, especially with a horse like him that tends to want to shorten up his back and get really tight, um, all it does is create that tightness. And with dressage, the goal is always to be rhythmic and supple and elastic. And so being patient and letting him come into the frame and letting him accept the contact, that's going to be so much
Oh,
better in the long run. So maybe it's not as aesthetic in the moment, but we're thinking long term here and having a long term goal of him being supple. And honestly, that frame I'm actually pretty happy with. He's
there you go.
a little strung out, but for like a training level, I think this is fine. He's moving on really nicely. I'm so happy with how he looks with this spur, and I'm much happier with how I'm riding. It's way less messy, way less all over the place. And that was actually a pretty good transition for him. And you can see there, going back to the trot, he's super responsive. He's coming right off my leg. He's really being such a good boy. And that was a really nice canter transition for him, too. Oops. Oh, maybe I wasn't asking for the canter. Well, even if I wasn't, that was a really nice transition for him. My camera kind of loses me for a second.
Good.
There he is. I'm really happy with the way he's moving through here. He was a little late to respond there, so I used my spur just a little bit to remind him that he needs to listen, and he did right away. So I was able to reward him and, again, just stay out of his way.
Good boy.
And as you can tell, I'm really trying to praise him with my voice because I really want him to know he's a good boy. And I really believe that when you introduce implements like Spurs, the reward needs to be twice as much because I don't want him to think that this is a punishment. And like I said, I'm trying really hard to give him tons of releases and make sure that he knows he's doing a good job. I'm really happy with how long he stays in his frame through those transitions. And you can see there my reign's a little loose, but I think I'm getting him, I'm getting him into a nice long and low trot. That's something that I add in quite a bit with him too, is these long low trots just to keep encouraging him to use his top line and to keep encouraging him to reach out and not get up. He's a horse that likes to curl and get behind the bit, so being able to watch this video back and see him reaching into my hand a bit more and seeing his neck be nice and long, it's really nice to see that he's made that progress.
Alright, let's try. Easy. Easy. Good.
Got just a little bit uptight there. You can see him kind of chew on the bit a little, so oops. And then I'm moving him off my leg. He actually looked really nice there. It was really nice to be able to practice these leg yields and be able to get a response and not feel like I was just all over the place. And there I move him off my leg again. I'm pretty happy with that. I know he's above the bit. He needs to be moving into my hand a bit more and a bit more accepting, but for him just starting leg yields, I'm thrilled with that. And then just practicing those canter transitions, making sure he's being nice and responsive and not getting too high with his head going through. He gets a little high there, but he's still responding, he's still listening. Again, started a little bit high, but he actually was able to kind of work that out a little bit of lengthening. That was really nice. Jett is still, I would consider him very green, so like I just started doing leg yields with him and doing the lengthenings, and I'm just really happy with him and the way he's responding. It's a really nice frame for him right there. His hind end is coming up underneath him really nicely. Oh, that's much better. So there he came off my leg really well, and I reward him with some long and low trot and posting, being off his back. And that is a really nice trot for him. I think I mentioned this in the last ride through, but he is a horse that was really hard to teach sitting trot to. He used to go just full bronking anytime he tried to sit the trot. He really did not like it, and I don't think he was strong enough to support it. So, again, for him to have this frame and have me sit the trot, I'm really happy with that. And then there he listened so well. He came off the rail, came off my leg, and then went back to the rail so nicely. He's being so quiet.
Oh, that's okay.
And gets a little confused there. So I just let him move on, try and move him out a little bit.
Good. I know.
And that was nice too. A little bit of lengthening again. I could feel him wanting to get a little bit tight the more and more we did these leg yields. So I would really try to let him lengthen out and lengthen his step again going straight, just to get him away from wanting to curl up. And you can see too, these are not extreme angles by any means. Like, this wouldn't score super great in a dressage test, but again, that's not the point. We're training and we're just trying to get better. And then I just ask him to go straight and try and lengthen out that trot a little bit. You can see his steps want to get just a little bit quick. That's better. Trips a little bit there. He's still wanting to be a little bit quick.
Thank you. Good.
And that's better. He goes back into that longer frame. And again, I reward him with that long and low trot. And this was actually the end of my ride. I always end with a nice long and low trot, and then cool them out at the walk with a free walk. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps your ride, and hopefully you like the video. Thanks. Bye.